Hey, I'm John. Welcome to Mr. G's Workbench. Time for a new build. So let me just start out by thanking the over 3,650 people who've chosen to subscribe to Mr. G's Workbench. Thank you one and all for your support. And if you're not a subscriber, welcome. And I hope by the end of this video, I'll convince you to hit that subscribe button and join everyone else. All right, all the cool kids are doing it. So thank you one and all. It's very much appreciated. And a big thanks to my channel member family whose names are scrolling up that screen right now. Thank you guys for your next level of support. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, hit the join button at the bottom. It's $1.99 US a month, and every penny counts when it comes to buying glue and paint and all that other stuff. So thank you guys again for your support. It's very much appreciated. So with that great YouTube stuff out of the way, let's jump into the new build. It's a kit that just hit the streets. It's Miniart's P-47D bubble top. This is Miniart's calling this their basic kit. So it looks like they're doing two levels. It's basic and advanced. The advanced looks like it's going to have photo etch and some extra decal options. So we're not using the kit decals though. Well, we'll use the stencils and stuff, but for markings, because everybody's going to use those markings that are in the box. So just to change things up a little, I got this set. They're Eagle Cals, and it's a plane called Elsie and Little Butch. And it's that natural metal one right there. We're going to do that. And I was happy to grab those decals up. It looks like it'll be a cool scheme. So we're going to do that. Now, you know, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, I don't do inbox videos. It's cheap filler, to be quite honest, and there's no reason to do it. I mean, if you want to know what's in the box, there's like 1,000 other places you could look for that. So why would I waste your time and mine doing, opening a box and looking at plastic? Let's put it to the test for real and build it. For the sake of honesty, I haven't built the Tamiya P-47. This is like the first P-47 kit I'm doing, so my knowledge of the plane is pretty limited. So I'll be jumping in and trying to figure out what looks good and what doesn't look good, all right? And we'll see what we wind up with, all right? So we'll jump in. Let's hit the ground running. Let me see what the first step is before we even turn around and look at the workbench. I have a feeling we're coincidentally starting with the cockpit, so I don't know why I needed to look to figure that out. So let's build up the cockpit and see what we get. All right, let's take a look. So we're on step one. We're building the pilot seat. It's the very first thing you have to do, and this seat is emblematic of a Miniart kit. You have to put these sides, this back, and this seat pan all together. And you need 3 hands to do it, to get everything lined up. But you get there eventually. And the biggest problem here is they're 2 separate seat supports. Why they couldn't come up with a better way to do this is just, again, typical Miniart. It's the supports that'll connect this seat to the cockpit floor are these 2 spindly T-shaped pieces that'll connect to the back of the seat. And as little tiny fragile pieces want to do, they either break in half when you're trying to remove them, or they go pinging off into the distance. Mine broke in half, and I couldn't find this portion of it, the most important part. I wound up trimming it back, and I just put a styrene leg on here that'll meet the floor. And this molded in seatbelt stuff, you're either going to love it or hate it. All right, real quick, I'm just going to hit a couple of the low lights here. There's this section right here is one piece that goes over the front. That includes the top of the instrument panel with the gun sight. All those pieces fit on fine, but I have a step here and a step here, and that's after clamping the fuselage to try and close it up. And I don't want to sand off too much detail that I'm going to suck at re-riveting and stuff, so I left it at that. The two halves of the fuselage leave you with a seam here and here. I had to scrape and sand this one, and then I re-riveted when I was done. The one up here, and I just had to run an X-Acto blade over that to get rid of some excess plastic. The other problem on the top is this antenna, which I guarantee will break off before I'm done. They have you put it into this square slot here, but you wind up with a big hole next to it. So I had to fill that with Vallejo putty. You made like a one-piece cowling to go over there. You might as well have ran it all the way back here and eliminated the seam, but I'm not a kit designer, so there's that. I had gaps here and here around. I think the supercharger is in there, and there's, like I said, there's no positive locating for this piece here, so I just filled the gaps I was left with. This was all pretty good. Just scraped off the excess plastic and didn't go too crazy with it. Up front, it was good. The firewall, no problems at all. Couple of small gaps I was left with, and I just went back and filled those with Vallejo putty, no problem. Next thing I had to do was put in these vents. They really don't want to sit flat for some reason, and I did the best I could with them. I think they look all right. I also sanded the insides to thin down the sidewalls. So. So here's where we're at. This whole cowling assembly is a mess. You have to assemble the engine. The engine goes on to the firewall, and then you're supposed to attach these 4 sections of cowling to the perimeter of the engine assembly and the firewall. The first problem is that the cowling sections don't sit far back enough to fit properly on the firewall. There's little notches that are meant for each of these sections, and I had to cut those off to get this to sit reasonably flat. And you can still see lines here. You can see a huge gap here. Same thing over here, a big gap, and the mess here. And you know what? I'm not taking ownership of most of this because I've really tried my hardest anticipating this very issue, and the fit is just terrible. I didn't even bother to try to put these cowl flaps on yet. I figured I'll do that after I get this to sit reasonably well. I've tried putting some Vallejo putty into these gaps just to kind of clean it up a little, and it's mostly just coming back out as I do it. I'm probably going to putty, and I'm going to lose a lot of detail here, which is not the way I wanted to go. Maybe I can tape off the detail Just try to get putty into the gaps and then wipe out the excess. Just want to catch up on the paintwork to this point. All right, that looks like I might have botched that up a little there, but in any event, I did the aluminum. I put a clear coat of aqua gloss over that to protect the aluminum color. And then I came in, masked off this black, painted that, painted these invasion stripes. Fortunately also, to double check my measurements, the decal placement diagram from Eagle Cals is in 1/48 scale. So I was able to use that. So I got that on, painted these stripes on the rudder. After this comes decals, so moving on. Well, in real time, it's been about a month, and I'm finally done. I apologize for not showing some of the stuff towards the end. I was all out of gas. I wanted to be finished with this. Some aspects of this build just weren't fun. And, you know, again, anything I say is my opinion. Take it for what it is, and your experience may vary. So I'll show you some close-ups of this as we go along, and I'll give you the 10,000 foot overview of the kit. This is like the third time I'm trying to get this out without it turning into a rant. So sorry. So quick, good and bad. Good, looks good overall. Mold quality of the parts is good. The riveting to me is sublime, and it's there. You don't have to go crazy with panel line washes to show it off. I think in the light, a silver plane like the P-47D shows that riveting as it would be in reality. So kudos to Miniart for getting that right. Detail, overall, there's a lot of good detail on this kit. The cockpit is very well detailed, almost more than it needs to be in my opinion. Probably could have reduced some of the parts count in the cockpit and still had a really nice looking cockpit that you won't need aftermarket for. The main gear bays are very well detailed as well. There's probably about 10 parts in each of the main gear bay assemblies, and which is also a negative in the sense that there's two parts called CD10. They're gear door actuators for the bottom half of each main gear door. You have to install them when you build the gear bays, and I managed to break both of them off because they're little, tiny, and flimsy. So be careful when you put them in, because then you have to put them in at a point where you still have more than half of the plane to build and paint and mask. And, you know, like I said, they both broke off. So another great thing is they give you lots of options under the wings. At least 3 bomb types that you can put. They also give you smoke discharges. I didn't even know that a P-47 could have smoke discharges, but they give you those as well. There's also bazooka tubes if you're so inclined. There's 3 different kinds of drop tanks, 2 different kinds of wheels. They give you partially deflated, wheels, flattened wheels, and they give you fully inflated wheels. So your option. Same with the tail wheel, 2 different tail wheels. They give you 2 different types of tail wheel assemblies, both of which suffer from a weak tail wheel gear leg that flexes under weight. Another great thing is the machine guns blast tubes, because those aren't the barrels sticking out of the wings, those are blast tubes. They're hollowed out. They're actually slide molded, it looks like, and they look terrific, and you won't have to do anything to them. Just clean up the outside. You might have a little flash or a seam line, scrape that off, you're good to go. The fit of the wings onto the fuselage was good. No complaints there. I think I used a minimum. That was one of the few places I may have used a minimum of some Vallejo putty just to fill in a couple of small gaps. The engine. You won't see the engine because they don't give you any options for leaving the cowling off. If you figure out a way to do it that looks cohesive, run with it and send me a picture and tell me what you did. But even the basic engine and the basic kit looks terrific. If you painted that up and detailed it, it would look spectacular. The cowling that goes over that well-detailed engine comes in 4 pieces. Those 4 pieces are meant to fit over a ring that's a structural piece, and that ring fits onto the engine before you put the cowling on. Apparently it's sitting about 1 millimeter forward of where it should be. Those 4 pieces have slots built into them, molded on the inside. That's what they fit onto the that structural ring with, and you find out when you go to put them on. So that was another big issue I had, was those cowling parts. Like, just for an example, quick example, Edward Zero gives you a jig because their cowling comes in multi-piece sections as well, and you fit them all together on that jig before it ever goes on the plane, so that you're getting, they're all gonna fit together properly and slot on the plane. I wish Miniart would have done something like that here. It would have been a winner. There's too many pieces coming together in one place, and when Mr. G has too many pieces in one place coming together, I guarantee you I'm gonna screw something up. So, that was my big complaint with that. The only other thing, my only other complaint was there. It goes back to the well-detailed cockpit and some stuff on the outside. Tiny pieces, and this is a Miniart thing. They love giving you little tiny pieces as if that's accentuating the detail, and I don't feel it does, especially not if you ping them across the room or break them. That's one of the things that makes Tamiya kits more pleasant to build. You're getting a good compromise between detail and ease of assembly. And Miniart is giving you detail, and the rest is on you. If you can put some time into this and be patient, if you're good with small parts, you're going to come away with a really nice looking plane. The other thing to watch out for while I'm on a tear here, the 2 marker lights, the wing marker lights, the clear parts don't fit very well into the 2 slots at the leading edges of the wings. There's no reason for that. It's a new kit, and everything is molded together. It should be with the same dimensions. I thought they would slot on. I made the mistake of thinking they were going to fit just fine without like a lot of work. I cleaned them up and I put them on, and I wound up with these janky looking gaps. I had to pop them back off and sand them to get them to sit better in the provided slots. That's my takeaway from it. You can be a judge, be your own judge about whether or not it's a kit you want to assemble. You can go on, if you haven't bought the kit yet and you want to look at the instructions, I'm sure if you go on scalemates.com, go to the, look up the kit, there's almost always a PDF of the instructions there. You can see for yourself the parts layout for the basic kit. My understanding is the more complicated, the advanced kit is going to have it's going to have photo etch and stuff, and I think you'll have a provision for actually showing off the engine. That would be great. With that being said, let me leave it at this. I've put you guys through enough. Thank you for watching. If you watched to this point, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like what you see, give me a thumbs down. But if you do that, just give me a comment down below and say, hey, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, you suck, whatever. Just put something, you know, give me some feedback. Thank you to everybody who's subscribing. We're up around 3,800. We're chugging slowly towards 4,000. Thank you all very much. It's very much appreciated. Channel members, thank you guys as always. It's always appreciated that you guys go the extra mile. So until the next time we get together, take care, stay well, and I'll see you next time.